Experts say that China is hoarding a massive amount of food. They will soon have over two-thirds of the globe's corn reserves, over half of its rice, and over half of its wheat. But when asked about it, China lies. One China expert says they, of course, will never admit to something like that. Well, what does China know that we don't? When it comes to global food shortages, China is the canary in the coal mine. You see, China is the world's #1 food importer. They rely on the rest of the world to keep their people fed. So they can't afford to mess up, or there will be riots, civil panic, or even worse, when over 1 billion people can't eat. What does this mean for Americans like you and me? 2 words: food shortages. That's why it's a smart idea to stock up on a kit of best-selling 4 Patriots survival food. Create your own stockpile of the best-selling 4 Patriots survival food kits, hand-packed in the USA. The kits are compact and stack easily. They have different delicious breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, and their 5-star reviews on the website rave about the flavor and the taste. Right now, you can get 10% off your first purchase of 4 Patriots survival food by typing in the code BTTGW at checkout. Just go to 4patriots.com and use the code BTTGW to get 10% off your first purchase of 4 Patriots survival food. That's 4patriots.com. Use the code BTTGW.
Hey, what's up, trash talkers? Listen, it's impossible to fight, okay, if you don't know what you're fighting for. Does that make sense? Like, if you're in the dumps and you're struggling with mental health, things of that nature, it's going to continue tearing you down, all right? Because you're consistently trying to fight something, which is that demon, which is usually something from the past, right? Maybe that why needs to be fighting for your future. Let that be your why. Get the hell up and start fighting for your future. Stop fighting things that happened in the past. Easier said than done, right? Go seek help. It's okay not to be okay. A lot of people need to hear this. You are more of a warrior and a fighter if you stand up and say, hey, this has to stop. I need to go seek help. The stigma, everything has changed. It's okay not to be okay.
Here is a firm believer in all men are created equal, but not all men live equal. That is why there's a certain select number of people in the DoD who decided to jump out of airplanes. And yes, we are better than you. 100%. Now, don't be the first triggered pansy to say, well, airborne's not relevant. You haven't jumped since World War II. Well, that's not accurate, for one. And two, it's like having a jalopy or a 68 Mustang. Well, a 68 Mustang's no longer relevant. Doesn't matter. It's still a better car than yours. So take it easy this National Airborne Day and just accept that we are better than you.
So 2 things for today's Honesty Cat. First thing, how do all my boys from the 101st feel knowing that the Army decided that instead of actually making you airborne, they've just created a whole new division that's airborne because you just aren't cutting it? It sucks. Thing number 2, for all the folks who were like, oh, airborne is irrelevant, doesn't even matter. They're making a whole new division of just airborne people because they're relevant. Think about that. How's that feel? Does it hurt a little bit? I hope it hurts a little bit.
This is the Veteran Trash Talk Hour, hosted by Nick, Dave, and Buddy. Real warriors making fun of other real warriors. Try to not get triggered.
What is up, Trash Talkers? What is up, Gruntworks Nation? Welcome to episode 145 of the Trash Talk Hour. Special guest today is Robin Phoenix Johnson with the Best Medicine Brigade. And today I'm joined by Monica and Nick. Happy Saturday, y'all.
What's up?
Cheers.
What's going on?
What's up? Another
Yeah.
day, brother. Another day.
Yeah, it's
How you
crazy.
guys doing today?
I am concerned because Buddy is supposed to be on the show, but he got stuck in Mexico. And the latest that we've got was something about a donkey show and not good.
No.
So it was like broken text. Not sure if he's in jail. Not like we're trying to figure this out as we're going along. So, Buddy, if you are in jail, let me know. I'm right on the border here in El Paso. I'll maybe get one of the guys that knows some of the the Chihuahuans and stuff like that, and we'll figure it out. We'll get you out of there. But who knows? It is what it is. But yeah, Monica, OE254 cables here. What's going on, man? What have you been up to?
Hey, when it hits below 60 in Los Angeles, we call the paramedics. So I've been freezing my ass off.
I hear it. I do not want to hear it. I just came back from Minot, North Dakota today, so where it's like negative 60.
Oh my God. Yeah, I would just die.
Yeah.
It's like 75 right now out here in Phoenix, so we're good.
Nice.
We're a little spoiled out here, though. It was a cold winter. We call it a cold winter. I think temperatures got up to like 45 at one point. Yeah. But anyway, I got a great conspiracy lined up. It's going to be, too bad Buddy's not on because it's going to be UAP related and UFO and stuff. And for those of you that are into that topic, if you follow Jeremy Corbell, he was part of the congressional hearing that just happened and everything. And he's got a lot of insiders that are feeding him videos and intel on everything that's going on UAP related. And this has been going on in the news. They've talked about this incident that we're gonna show you guys for the last couple of weeks. CNN, Fox, everybody's talked about it. It was a jellyfish UAP sighting. They call it a jellyfish, and it happened 2018 on a base in Iraq. And there was a much longer video where they actually talked to the soldiers who witnessed it and all kinds of stuff. So we're just going to play the video and give our opinions on it. Go ahead, Nick.
All right, video's going. I'm not normally the producer. We got a Marine to do this, and he's gone today too. That son of a bitch. But all right, if
I think as a ranger,
right,
you can handle it.
I'm gonna give it a shot.
In thermal. It was filmed on a weapons platform. You see that there's a dog there. See the animals are black. I'm assuming this is black hot. You see the object just went to white, and you'll see it going from white to black, and that's basically showing the heat differential. So it's going like hot and cold, hot and cold. The problem was the optics platform was jammed. These individuals who target with these platforms, they can shoot out an Al-Qaeda tire at 27 miles away, but not being able to lock it was one of the first signs that something's weird. I was able to find direct eyewitnesses and corroborate that this event did happen. When individuals would target in on it with the optics, the way it was described, each of these hanging things, they were stiff, like they weren't moving. They had geometric form, like scales, what was said to be scales, like an armor. There were also people with night vision who were out and they were tasked to go look for it, couldn't see it on the night vision. Only in the thermal spectrum could it be seen. But anything that looks like that appears to have a payload, that's a big deal. It could be dangerous, so these are high priority. But what happened is there were a couple other nations involved, and the feeds were just shut immediately. So that put me on high alert too. Why is it completely being shut down? But that's not all it did. It goes out over a body of water. I'm told it stops on a dime, descends into the water, stiff into the water. And for 17 minutes, nothing. And boom, this thing comes up out of the water and shoots off at 45 degrees, just like that. It looks very much like what I've heard that has made incursions into nuclear facilities, because I know for sure, fact of the matter, there is footage from inside a nuclear facility. And I'll just say it, Pantex, that's the one, man. Something that appears identical to this moves between these nuclear silos and shot off again at a 45-degree angle. What it is, I don't know, but now, when it goes over a body of water I do have some footage of that. This is when that same object, a jellyfish UFO, goes out over this like, you kind of get an idea by that distance now how far these optic systems can reach. When it gets to that point where it's over the water, every source that I have talked with who is aware of this footage, that footage exists. You've got a UFO or UAP descends into the water stiff, comes back up, and then shoots off 45 degrees. Now, this was taken by an intelligence agency and buried. So I don't know, man. These are the cases that spark me. I don't know what this is. I just know when I get military filmed UAP footage designated where people risk getting that to me, I take it as serious as it sounds, and I try to get to the bottom of it. And it's hard, you know, but I do have a number of direct eyewitnesses now.
Oh man, TikTok.
So this has been on the news everywhere, and Jeremy Corbell is very known in that world. Obviously part of the congressional hearing and all that stuff. 100% alien. I don't need to talk about this too long because they talked to soldiers too. There's a bunch of other videos, and let's just say it was a bug on the lens. Well, it moves, right? So it's not staying with the lens and just staying in the same position. It actually moves, and then it's picking up heat signatures as well. And then they witness it dive into the ocean. Definitely not technology that we have, something from a different planet, in my opinion. And that's my take. Simple as that. That's probably the most realistic UAP footage that we've received. Or again, it could be Project Bluebeam, which is a whole other thing, right? Where they're just tricking us into believing that it's aliens and it's actually our technology. But no, aliens. That's my call. Robin, what the hell was that?
Well, first of all, why are we spending all this time and energy about this thing? Because we can't even shoot down a balloon that came over from China. Like, we're facing like aliens in Iraq, but we can't defend a balloon attack. So I don't know. I'm not buying it. I feel like it's China. I feel like this is not.
Okay.
I feel like I'm always going to blame China. Yeah.
China's the canary in the coal mine.
So China with some crazy advanced technology is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for.
Okay. All right. Good take. Monica, what's your take?
I'm calling bullshit on this one. You say it moves around independently from the screen. There's AI. I'm saying it's a piece of bird shit on the lens. And based on the light from behind, it goes light and dark like any piece of crap on your screen would. And then the second video where it dives into the water, I've seen that happen when these guys with their, what do they call those water jetpacks, when they lose control and just go. So yeah, that's what my take is on it.
It looked like that one thing you could see in Star Wars too. I think it was like the second Return of the Jedi, which
Empire Strikes Back. Empire Strikes
Back, where they're out in the snow and those things are just
right.
Yeah. Okay, so complete bullshit on this one. Wow. All right, Nick, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, again, I always go last because I'm usually the smartest person on the panel, and we have to, get through the nonsense first. And again, those of you watching for the first time, welcome, especially if you're on one of Robin's platforms. We do this as like a barracks talk. Remember, put yourself back in your 19, 20-year-old days when you thought you knew what you were talking about, and you'd literally get into fights in the barracks over something like this, right? Like, so somebody's gonna be like, "No, that's bullshit," and you're like, "No, it was real," and then nobody knows. Like, I mean, I'll always make fun of Dave, Faceman here. Faceman thought the lottery was like a no-brainer.
Yeah, we had a lot of guard tower talks too, you and I. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So the first time he saw like the lottery, like the Powerball, when he got to America.
This is bullshit. The Powerball exists in Germany. It's called Lotto.
He's like, hey, if we all just buy $100 worth of tickets, we're gonna
That
win.
Is inaccurate.
No, that's not how that works, Dave.
No, anyway, that is inaccurate.
So yeah,
I'll let you roll with it though.
Yeah, I need 10% truth, and I think I got about 40 in that story. So we're rocking and rolling with it. I gotta, we've said this before, and it's almost like the opposite side of remember Buddy's take on the aliens and the guy who was beating him with like a club, right? And he's like, I don't think these guys traveled, this far across this many galaxies to get beat up by some hick with a club, right? Like, it's not happening. When I look at that, the first thing I thought of, Dave, was it's Star Wars, because from Empire Strikes Back, like it literally looks just like that thing. But it's definitely a Chinese drone, right? It's a
Chinese drone. Okay.
Yeah, it's a stealth drone.
It's very
They pressed the wrong button and it went thermal and then or something like that. I don't know. Just like the Chinese weather balloon, whatever the hell that thing was. Like, I think the biggest problem, we always talk about this, the biggest problem is we give our government way too much credit, right? And like we've all worked for them, right? We've all seen some of the shit that goes wrong, and it's like there's no way, right? That, like, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's an alien. I think it's a drone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good take. Yeah.
It's for sure. We got.
Thanks.
What is that?
No. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
So you got aliens in your house now?
Didn't
What
hear
was
what you
that?
said just then.
Yeah, but that's not the first. But what I would like to talk about is what he was saying is that how like all of a sudden comms go black, and they shut things down when they report that kind of stuff. I mean, we always talk about it when we were with PsyOps in Samara and we're tracking down El Basanita, and his cell phone pings on the hammer. So it's like we're right there, and when that name went up the net, because I think he was number 4 overall in Iraq.
4,
right? Number 1 in our AO, but number 4 overall in Iraq. And all of a sudden, our comms go, boom, gone, right? Like just like that. And all of a sudden, here comes Delta Force. Little birds come in. It's like you guys ain't fucking this right up. It's like we got this. Right?
Yeah.
So it's if the comms did go out, then might be aliens. Or they
what's this guy saying? Isaiah is saying, I saw somewhere that the Chinese had developed an invisible cloak of sorts. That technology could be applied elsewhere. Yeah, could be. So
From the
Chinese, that's what
aliens,
Robin said too. Yeah.
From the aliens, but we got a lot of comments going on here. Let's see here. We got go scroll back up here. We go. Okay, Sergeant Major retired. Bach says that looked like a paratrooper drifting in 26 knot winds. Pulls a hard side. Like, it's possible. Could have been a training jump that way. So, and then we got our resident Jeremy Daniels, who doesn't like airborne people because I don't know, maybe one of us stole his girlfriend. I don't know.
He's just a nasty leg. That's what it is. He's a nasty leg.
Period. It wasn't her fault. Okay, you can't help it. Like once you see that red beret or a tan beret or a green beret, it's all
game over.
Yeah, I mean, I took over that platoon in Hawaii, and I get my medic, and I haze my medics all the time. So I get him, and I'm like, hey, you got a girlfriend or wife? He's like, I got a girlfriend. I was like, she's a medic too. I'm like, oh, is she here? I'm like, no, she actually, when we left AIT, she went to Fort Bragg. I'm like, she's not your girlfriend anymore, dude.
Oh.
And he goes, what? I go, it's paratroopers. Like
it's a thing.
Sorry. Like it's just she's gonna go see real nice. Like it's like that's what it is. And he's like, all of a sudden my squatter comes in. He's like, hey, can you kind of take it easy on Doc? And I'm like, what's up? He goes, I don't want to tell you, but his girlfriend. So I was like, get his ass in here. And I was like, what did I tell you? I told you it was gonna happen. I was like, all right, get back to work. But I guess we could. We got Tim's. Was it Solomon coming in from Central Washington? It's nice. Joe McGuire, Warner Roberts, probably an Air Force guy. Joe, whatever. And then a nice base there. Sean White from Massachusetts. I wonder if he's part of the Massholes. The veteran page of the Massholes veteran page is pretty cool. They get shut down all the time. Yeah, they get shut down all the time on Facebook because they have like the worst posts ever on their pages. But it's like whenever they do get back up and running, go check them out. But yeah, hey, we take our breaks with Veteran Trash Talk on the holidays. And again, why we started this was for our own mental health, and it got into something awesome. And now look at us, we're sponsored. We got famous lieutenant colonels coming on. Right, we got the best medicine brigade. But once we got a reach, because we jumped to about 70,000 like in the first month, and
Yep.
and then we kept getting shut down by Facebook. A little frustrating, but you keep going, you keep pushing through. It's like Rocky Balboa says, it's not about it's about how hard you get hit, get back up, keep going forward. We keep going. It's like, well, we got to do something good with this. Like, there's something we should do with this reach. So, we decided to promote veteran-owned businesses for free. And we decided that, it doesn't matter what you do. And again, everything centers around veteran and first responder suicide. And obviously active duty as well. And we don't have the one answer. And we've talked about this all the time, where nobody has the one answer to it. If somebody did, then it wouldn't exist anymore, right? There isn't one answer. There's 500 answers to somebody to whatever problem somebody's facing, whatever demons inside it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And again, it's hard not to talk about the same thing 145 episodes in every once in a while, but seeing as it's the new year and everybody makes their New Year's resolution and everybody does their dry January, which, I think they said that 1 out of 10 make it 3 days.
What's that?
Then,
What's a dry January?
Yeah.
Cheers to dry January.
We are sponsored by 10th Mountain Whiskey, so like they got great potato vodka too. I'm just saying, like, you go there, put in the code VTT, get yourself.
Very good.
Yeah, I tried dry January and I made it 3 days.
Yeah. Well, that's what I said. They say 1 out of 10 only makes it 3 days, and then I think it's like 6 out of 10 don't make it past 13 days. Like it's crazy. But when I was reading this like little thing that my wife put me onto, I was like, this goes right into one of my Book of Earls from like a long time ago, to where I was like, don't surround yourself with people who make excuses for you. All right. Mm-hmm. Don't surround yourself with people that tell you can't do something. And we always talked about this in the military, Dave and I did. I don't know if you ladies had the same thing, but I always, mentored soldiers. Don't ever ask somebody who failed to school how it went. All right. Don't ever ask somebody who's getting chaptered what they think about the Army. Don't even ask them. Right. Like, don't even fucking ask them. All right. Find the guy who passed. All right. Find the guy who went back to Ranger School 3 times to finally get his tab. Right. Like, talk to that person. All right. Because the person who fails one time, oh, it was RI roulette, or, I failed airborne school because of this, or I failed Pathfinder school because they did the 2 turns around the 82 cargo bag too tight. It's like, bro, like, just go get it done. But what I'm going to get at here real quickly before we get over to the guest for the Book of Earl again is whatever you decide to do, go do it. All right. Give it a try 1,000 times. And like the growth mindset that everybody wants to read that book from Dr. Dweck and whatever, it's like the end state should remain the same, but how you get there might change 600 times by the time you get there, right? Don't give up on that goal.
Course correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
And don't let people come into your life telling you can't do it. Mm-hmm. All right. And I got kind of triggered this week on, and again, that whole Triggered Pansy shirt that's on sale for $19.99 right now. That's a message. That's a message to everybody. All right. That's a message.
Everybody.
And it's not political. Right. It can be political if you're being triggered over politics. Like, yes, then it is political. That's for you. Right. I 100%. It's hard to get me triggered on Facebook because I'm a Facebook terrorist, as Dave calls it. And I purposely write things to piss you to fuck off. Right. Like I'm literally trying to trigger you. But I'll just say it, in person, that I do get triggered. On our page, VTT Officials, our group that we have for support, right? So if you go there, it's a lot of funny memes. And then, Monica runs the page. You go on there, and one day you might not say anything for a year. And then one day someone's going to post something that they're having an issue with. And here's that whole systematic approach. We don't have the one answer to suicide prevention, right? But if you put your problem out there in VTT Official, you're going to get about 40 to 50 people responding to you in about 5 seconds.
Like that. Yeah.
Right. And you know what? Filter those out. Right. One person's going to be, okay, that guy's an idiot. That girl's an idiot. Okay. This right here. Right. And the reason we bring other people on the show, the reason we decided to do that was to listen to people, to veterans who are doing something. You know, whether it's selling goats, like the West Point grad that wasted all of our taxpayers' dollars and he sells fucking goats now, right? And then you got somebody
Online, right? Too.
he sells goats online. You know, it's like, but it ended up being a great podcast. And you know,
Dude, he was awesome.
if it motivates one person to go do something different, then it's a success, right?
Yeah,
And
that's a win for sure.
so yeah, like what triggers me is like today we had that Karen vet on there talking about our Mickey shirt, right? And then I tag everybody on VTT official, right? So when something
At
cool
everyone.
happens,
Don't we know
everyone,
it? Oh
right?
man.
And so like that way, because we get shadow banned on Facebook because we're veterans, it just happens during election years, right? And so but that's Robin, that's straight true story. We'll get into that later. But like that was from Spotify executive told me that to like stay off Facebook during election year. Like they hate veterans groups. You're all considered Republican and you're all considered extremists. Like, and I'm like, what? I'm like, we don't even talk about politics. So
hey, Marine, you're a devil dog. Boom. Page shut down for bullying.
Yeah, we got shut down for bullying.
That's literally what happened.
Yeah,
calling somebody a devil dog.
But I tag everyone, and then people literally get mad at me. Why are we tagging everybody? Because it's my page. That's one. It's like 2. This is a really cool thing that's on sale, and I just figured everybody would want to see. Right? Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry that you're on my page and you don't like that I tagged you. Like, my bad, right? But that triggers me. I'm like, how like out of like touch are you that you're on a page that you joined and you're mad that the person and people who created it fucking tag you in something? Like, what is wrong with you? I just want to choke them, right? And so, but I have to reset, right? And I have to think this negative energy ain't gonna take me nowhere. So that's the Book of Earl. Negative energy takes you nowhere. All right, it takes you nowhere. All right, nowhere except shitty places. All right, it's okay to be down. It's okay to be upset when something bad happens to you. All right, but if you're not moving fucking forward, right, like, you know, you're not doing anybody any favors. You're just thinking about yourself. And we cover that all the time. So yeah, Book of Earl. Stay positive, guys.
I like that.
If everybody says there's no way you can stay sober all of January, fuck them.
Yeah, you need to stop surrounding yourself with people like that. Yeah,
Like, why would you do that? Because I want to. If that's not good enough for them, fuck them.
Well, you know why they're saying that, right? So it's like if you're in a circle with people that are saying if they don't want you to succeed, they actually want you to stay on their level, and they're going to continue bringing you down with their negative energy. So sometimes you got to cut ties, which sucks, right? But like, if the people around you aren't lifting you up and are encouraging you and are giving you a thumbs up, saying you can achieve this, then you gotta let them go because they just want you to stay on their level, wherever they're at, and that's just that's just how it is, man.
You ladies got anything on that before we switch segments?
Well, I can say, I think it was 3.5 years ago or something. Late night, I was in Hawaii. I was actually in Hawaii having a shitty time, but going through some stuff. Yeah, going through some like dark, rough stuff. And I found VTT online and I made a comment just talking about the hard time I'm going through. And then I went to sleep and I fully expected a bunch of asshole remarks that were going to, flood during the night and wake up to like, oh, I regretted posting that,
Bunch of bro vets. Shut up,
but yeah, well, there were a couple of them in there, but there were like 75 people who just jumped in there to support me. And I was like flabbergasted. I'm like, oh my God, really? This is amazing. And even the guy that said, oh, it sounds like you need therapy. It wasn't like, wah, wah, you need therapy. It was, and because it's really helped me out a lot. And, from there, I just stuck around and eventually met these clowns and wound up, now like these guys, Robin, are like some of my most trusted best friends in the world. Like these guys are rock solid and I love you.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, sis.
Love you too.
Your family,
sis.
Yeah.
All the feels over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't like telling people that I'm doing dry January or any kind of goal for that matter because I think you're right. It seems like more often than not that people are trying to like bust your bubble and like tell you can't do it, and they're so negative because they don't want you to be successful at it. So I just kind of keep it to myself. Like it's just for me. And I did share this year with my mom, and my mom texted me. She's like, "I'm so glad. I think you're going to be a lot more successful if you just stop drinking." I was like, "Thank you so much."
You were drunk while you were taking the call.
Yeah.
Mom,
You're so right. You're so right.
Yeah.
She's probably the one trigger that makes me want to drink. I love it.
Yeah. And I mean, like, and then again, when you get triggered and you let emotions take over, right, you stop being logical. And I've talked about that before too. You know, like now you're all on emotion. And even like I was triggered thinking about being triggered, right? And I didn't even get to say what I wanted to say. And I'm glad Monica hit at it. Was that my main point is, besides to stay positive, was if you want to change your culture, right? You know, and this happens in the Army all the time or any branch of service. There's a difference between climate and culture. Climate can be changed in a second. Culture takes a minute, right? Culture might take a year. It might take 2 years, right? Because you got to cut it all out, right? If you're going to change yourself, right? You have to say, all right, that's it, right? I am cutting it out. Like I'm not going to ease into it. I'm not going to only smoke 5 cigarettes a day, right? Like you might get there and it might work with support, but you gotta. It's like, hey, it's over. So like sexual jokes, you know, for like, you know, EO and a comfortable workplace. Dave and I, we didn't have women in our formation, right?
We didn't see. But I still think we were like the most well behaved when we were around other which is crazy. Like we've talked about that when it comes to leadership. Yeah. We could talk about this for hours, but like as infantry guys, prior to letting females into the infantry, like when we were around other units, like. Dude, our first sergeants, the leaders that we had, like, dude, we wouldn't even like we'd be afraid to look right back then.
They didn't even talk to that. Like, don't be talking to that girl. Right. First, I'm going to say that shit.
Yeah.
You know, like, but it's like somebody put it to me in a conference one way. Like a professional was talking about it, and it's like, yeah. And Monica and I talking about before the show. It's like locker room talk exists, and I think locker room talk's okay, 100%. Right? Like to where, like, you know, because you know, like I said, Monica, you ever hang out with another girl going, that guy's hot over there? Like, you know, like, yeah, like that girl hot over there. Sure. It's like, but anybody who says that people should just, you know, toughen their skin when they're in a work environment and someone's telling a dumb joke, you're a fucking moron. Right. Like, no, this is a professional environment. Nobody should come to work going, oh, great. I got to listen to what Nick and Dave are going to joke about all day. Right. That person can't get out of the Army. Right. They're subject to, now you're forcing them to sit there and listen to it. Right. And it's like, but we don't want to get into it. But like that, if you want to change your culture, you got to cut everything bad out. And there can't be
right.
It can't be like, oh, that's okay. And that's what we're doing with Veteran Trash Talk people. All right, those of you whining the bro vets out there, we don't allow you to tell sexual jokes on our page. You know, go to there's plenty of pages like that. Like just go to those. Like there's the barracks, there's the other stuff, you know, like Ranger Barracks, you can put naked pictures on it. Nobody cares. Right? Like, no, this is a place where we come to have fun. And guess what? You can have, just like drinking, you can have fun without drinking. I like to drink. Have fun without it. Right? And you can have fun and be professional and not worry about it. But anyways, I'm excited about our guest.
Thanks, Isaiah. Real quick, Isaiah, I wasn't even 100% sure what you guys were all about until today, but I'm so glad I dropped in. Appreciate you, brother.
And you're on YouTube. You're one of the 2 people watching on YouTube. Love you, man.
Oh, hey, give us a like and subscribe because we are banned on YouTube, like shadow ban excessively. Like, yeah, give us a like, multiple likes. Can you do that? No. But subscribe and give us a like. Or smash that like button, whatever they call it. Yeah. Thank you.
Look, you got Richard Hodges saying, I posted once on VTT when I was in the suck and I had a Vietnam vet message me, hey, what's your number? And 2-hour talk saved my dumb ass. You know? And,
hell yeah.
You know, yeah, like absolutely. Like, again, I'm so glad that Vietnam member is on our page because those guys and girls who are
we have a lot of those guys.
Had a shit time coming back. Right. So like and that's why Buddy always talks about it and talk about we're going to get off on a tangent here again, but that's the dumpster fire that it is.
Yeah, sorry. I know we were going to get to the guests and I got you all derailed.
I apologize, Robin.
Yeah.
We got time. You got time today. Yeah.
Yeah. But I usually intro the guest because I'm the one that books them and knows the most about them. And so in the script, I think I nailed it. But we're going to let Monica under, baptism by fire, All right, introduce the guest into the dumpster fire, Monica. The floor is
Awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce you all to Robin Phoenix Johnson, who is a 26-year retired Army Lieutenant Colonel, embarrassing the hell out of all of us. She did 5 tours in Afghanistan and Iraq, retired in 2019, and you started stand-up comedian boot camp, which is amazing. Now she travels the country doing a routine and does motivational speaking events. Robin, we're really proud of you doing your Best Medicine Brigade. It looks like you're kicking ass and taking names. Oh, I got banned once for typing kick ass and take names. So delete. Yeah. So Robin, we have to assume that because you have like a nice personality and you're funny, that actually cost your promotion to 06. Is that right?
Okay. So
she must have been prior service or something. She ain't making.
Don't worry about throwing a few softball questions, Monica. Just go right for the jugular. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Not why to make 06.
She learned that from Nick. She learned that from Nick, 100%.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, you got to be proud of being a lieutenant colonel, but these guys are just assuming that you're jealous that you weren't a paratrooper.
First of all, I was a paratrooper, and I have
Oh!
freaking Barbie. Okay?
Yeah, baby.
Nice. Nice.
You bring guests on Airborne, Air Assault, and Pathfinder mothers, but
I passed Pathfinder Skull too, but that's because Buddy was my instructor.
So. Yeah.
I was a recruiter. What year did you go through? No, okay. I actually went through and started it in the day. I think we started on the 10th, and then 9/11 happened on the 11th, and so most of the guys in my Pathfinder class were a Ranger bat, and so they were like immediately working on other things in response to that. So they were missing a lot of class, but they would come back and take the exams. And so like I would hurry up and give them the notes and tell them like all the things they needed to know. And then they deployed I think the day of graduation or the day after.
Yeah, Gothic Serpent, probably.
Yeah.
When'd you get out, Robin? When'd you get out? Like what was it?
July of 2020. But I love how you like make a big deal about making lieutenant colonel, which I don't think it's a big deal. I was in E4 twice, so I feel like
damn, shots fired.
Yes.
I feel like I was probably never gonna make 06. Like they should have figured that out when I got busted from E4 to E3.
But I want to know what you did.
What'd you do?
You want to be? I'm right. I'm gonna tell you. I dated my commander's boyfriend, but Article 15 was for failure to obey an order because I wasn't supposed to. They said to like stay hydrated, and we took a PT test the next morning, and I like threw up after the 2-mile run. I was a track runner at the time, so I ran like I was a fast runner then. Now I can't even run because I've had 2 hamstring surgeries. But anyway, yeah, and so I think she just was mean and spiteful and mad.
Article 15 for throwing up after a run?
Because I was dehydrated. I feel like order to stay hydrated. Yes.
Oh, that's insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
You got an Article 15 for failure to stay hydrated.
To hydrate.
To follow the order to stay hydrated. It was really good.
Think about it, Nick.
The night
it was
before,
crazy
I
back
had
then.
a date with her boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, or this was before.
I'm sure
officers and enlisted. This was before officers and enlisted couldn't date. I believe because she was a first lieutenant promotable and he was a staff sergeant, and I was an E4.
When has that ever been?
You're not taking care of government. You're not taking care of government property. We had a guy who got Article 15. No, seriously, for getting a sunburn. And it's like
I remember that.
The Article 15 was like because we're government property at that point. It's like you're not taking care of yourself. You got Article 15. I was blown away. I'm like, holy shit, this guy just got fucked up for going to Myrtle. But
you're gonna miss training. Yeah, you're gonna miss training because you're sunburned. Well, yeah, here's your 45, sucker.
Yeah.
We had a guy in AIT who got punched in the face one night in a bar, and he was supposed to deploy to Desert Storm the next day, and they wouldn't let him deploy because he said he had defaced government property, and he got an Article 15 for his.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Sometime, you guys, I'll tell you that story because I was involved. But.
So, Robin, the floor is yours. Like, tell us about getting out. Obviously, what you're doing now, like just everything. Give us the rundown.
Yeah, I'll give you the Cliff Notes version, really, because Big Earl book, went on a tangent. No.
we got plenty of time. We got
Oh,
plenty.
We
Of time.
got time today. We're ready to rock and roll.
Okay. Well, when I got out, so backwards, I really wanted to get out of the Army when I was a major. So I was like 10 years in, but we were in the middle of, all the deployments in Afghanistan and Iraq. I had 4 deployments at that point, and my husband was military, and so I was like, I can't get out because I'm going to just follow his, butt around. So I just decided to stay, and I'm glad I did, but like I think I pretty much knew then that my heart wasn't really in it 100%. I really started looking at what I would want to do after the military, and I always had dreamed of being a comedian, but I didn't tell a lot of people because I didn't feel like I could be my true self in the uniform, especially as an officer, because we were expected to carry ourselves in a certain way and everything. So I just kind of suppressed it and just didn't think about it. We had 2 kids, deployed a couple more times. Like it just got on that train and just kept going until it was time to get out. And then when I got out, when I was kind of in like a crisis, like I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I need a job, blah, blah, the whole transition thing. And went to Vegas because that's where you go when you're in a midlife crisis. You go to Vegas.
That's the place to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
First red flag.
Yes. Met with one of my friends who was a Marine, and I said, I don't know what the heck I'm going to do. Like, I have no idea. And made a couple jokes or whatever. And she was laughing, and she's like, you're funny. And I was like, well, okay, I'm going to tell you something, but like, I've not really told anyone that. I was like, if I could do anything, like anything in the world, if money didn't matter, I'd be a stand-up comedian. She's like, oh my gosh, I think that's perfect. You should do it. I'm like, well, that's great. It doesn't pay the bills, and I've never done it. So it's pretty scary. She's like, who cares? You got your retirement. Just go for it. So yeah, that's what I did. Went for it and started doing comedy. And then it's one thing to make people like laugh and like do some jokes, do some stand-up. But then I thought how much it was helping me and my mental health. And I was like, well, how can I help other people in that way? And that's when I created the Brigade and Hilarious. So yeah, Cliff Note.
Yeah, talk about that. Talk about the creation of that, and then how long did it take you to where did you practice being a stand-up before you created the business, or did you create the business and then get after it? Like, what were the steps there?
Oh, I started doing comedy before the business because I went through an organization called Armed Services Arts Partnership. Wonderful, wonderful organization. ASAP.org. They have a free comedy boot camp. And so I took theirs, and in the course of taking that boot camp, and I was based in DC, Washington, DC. So I met a lot of veteran comedians there, kind of just in the scene, going to open mics and such. And we had a sense of community, but there wasn't anything after you graduated ASAP that was kind of like a community of people that were military affiliated that were into comedy. So I just created the Brigade, almost like grassroots, just to give us a place to go and chat and share best practices, workshop material. Hey, you get the number to the booker for the improv, blah, blah, blah. And it grew from there. And then I realized that we weren't getting a lot of stage time. There's a lot of competition in the industry. And I was like, well, how do I get more of our voices in our comedians on stages and actually get them paid gigs? I wanted to get them work. And so I just started producing shows and putting all veteran or military spouse comics on. And then that turned into a national tour. And then once we did the national tour, it was a search to find America's funniest veterans and military spouses. Now our emails and phones are ringing off the hook because I think a lot of people thought that we're only going to talk about veteran stuff and military stuff and that we wouldn't be relevant to civilians. I think a lot of them thought we weren't going to be able to hold our own against civilian comedians. No, these comics are the best. Like they will mic drop you in a second. We've got some really talented comics out there. So now people are like, oh, like we just went to Minot. We just did a show last night in Minot, North Dakota.
Nice. Are you guys all tied in with Drew and Justo Grabber? Or are they not tied in with each other?
Justin Garber, the combat veteran?
No.
Yeah, they're not.
Okay. Not in the Brigade. I mean, not that we wouldn't be, but no.
Yeah, he just started his stand-up tour. So yeah, that was
Andrew. Yeah,
that was fun getting him involved. But so yeah, then you went into starting the business.
Yeah, so I started comedy first, but then after a year being on tour, doing it, it's great. Not you go, you make people laugh, they have a good night, and that is very therapeutic. There's something innately positive and optimistic about laughing together. But it still wasn't enough. So last year, I started a program called Hilarious. I'm a member of an organization called the Association for Applied and Therapeutic Humor. So we're the nerds. We're the ones that study all the research and the science behind it. And it's not meant to replace traditional therapy. But we thought about, we're like, okay, if you're choking, you know what to do. Like you will demonstrate that you're choking with a sign. Someone will give you a Heimlich. You'll maybe give yourself abdominal thrust, call 911. There is a protocol to follow. But if you're choking on negative thoughts and some of the most popular or I won't say popular, but the most common cognitive distortions in your head, and your brain is literally choking on these to the point where you're having suicidal ideations, there's no Heimlich maneuver for that. So I wanted to figure out a way to take humor to be a Heimlich maneuver or a protocol or a way to kind of dislodge those negative thoughts and reframe your thought patterns. And so I work
like that.
Thank you. The guy who's helping me, his name is Dr. Doug Chadwick. He's a mental skills coach for the Colorado Rockies, and he's a West Point graduate, Army veteran, super smart guy. And Dr. Jeff McNeil, who was an operational psych in Special Forces, still does consulting for them. But I'm not a clinical expert, I'm not a doctor. So I went to them and I was like, here's my theory. Here's what I think is going to work. Because the way that comedians write jokes it's opposite of what these negative thought patterns are trying to do to your brain. So you look at like Jim Gaffigan. Jim Gaffigan does a joke about his wife getting diagnosed with a brain tumor, and the doctor's like telling him, "Oh, it's the size of a pear," and he's like, "What? Why are we talking about tumors in terms of fruit size? This is ridiculous." And he's like, "Does he not think I know what a centimeter is?" And he just takes this like really dark, sad subject and makes it funny. So that's what we do in our workshops is we're like, why don't we look at this through the lens of what, if you were trying to write a joke, let's pretend you're Jerry Seinfeld or you're Jim Gaffigan. Let's reverse engineer this and figure out a way to make it laugh. And sometimes it gets dark. My last group, we had a Marine. He's I've been working with him for a while, and he attempted suicide. It's only been like a month now, and he came back to the group. And of course, we pushed boundaries and to make them laugh. And I was like, hey, I'm pretty sure that you've been lying to us like the whole time. Like you were really in the Air Force because no Marine would have missed. And it was dark, but
that's funny as shit.
He laughed. And he said, I appreciate you not going easy on me and tiptoeing around me. Like I needed that laugh. And I was like, yeah, that's good. I was like, but I also know for a fact that you had to be infantry and you ate too many crayons in the Marine Corps, because when I told you that you needed new headshots, I did not mean literally. And he laughed so hard. Like he was like, stop. Like, he's like, you're making my face hurt. And I was like, good. So,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, because we have darker sense of humor. I think veterans and first responders tend to have like a little bit darker sense of humor.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you kind of are doing it a much more professional version of what we're doing. So it's like, instead of us like going and find doctors and real reasons why we think we're doing something good, is we just fucking send it, right? We're like, hey, we're just gonna do a podcast, and it helps us, so it's gonna help.
Full send.
Yeah.
Fucking send. But yeah, and we've always said that, like, behind every tragedy, usually there's humor, right? Like that's one of the first coping mechanisms that a lot of people, turn to. And again, to all you bro vets and Karen vets out there, God, take a break, right? If it's a bad joke for you, just keep scrolling, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not personal towards, I'm gonna pick on the last person to comment, the Ramy Traub. Hey, like Ramy, like, sorry, man, you didn't like the joke, but probably a lot of people did, right? And it's okay.
It's so subjective. Comedy is so subjective. I mean, you just really don't know how people are going to receive it, which is why a lot of people who are currently serving don't use it, and they don't, because they're afraid of getting in trouble, cancel culture. I mean, you want to go back to the question you asked me. I mean, there's a lot of reasons I didn't make Colonel. A lot of them, I just didn't take the actions or make the decisions I needed to be successful and to get myself promoted. But at the core of it, I didn't want it. I didn't want it. I wanted it because everyone told me I wanted it, but in my heart, I really didn't. And it took me a long time to figure that out. At first I was like, oh, it's a system, blah, blah, blah. No. But I actually got in trouble for something I said. And that was kind of the turning point of when I knew that meant I wasn't like far from exiting. Like I knew when I got a slap on the wrist for something I said. And it was very well intended. It wasn't meant to hurt anybody's feelings. But somebody thought it was inappropriate. And it just it pissed me off so badly that I got a letter of reprimand for it because that's local, it's like not that big.
It's not gonna follow you, right?
Yeah, in theory, but I always felt like it did. But the thing is that the thing I had the issue with is the thing that I said that was perceived as inappropriate. I felt like it was because I was a woman that I couldn't say it, and if I had been a guy saying it, I didn't feel like it would have been as appalling. And I don't usually say that because I don't like get on this whole like feminist thing, like, but in this case, I was in a situation where I was a senior leader, I'm a battalion commander, and I mentored a lot of women, and a lot of my male peers would send their female junior officers to me for advice. They want to start a family. They were dual military, whatever it was, they would push them to me. But then the one time that I say something to one of them that they didn't like, all of a sudden it's like, I'm a terrible leader and I got to get a reprimand. And I'm like, really? Maybe if you would handle your own like mentoring. And so that just frustrated me a lot. And then the things that I would hear, like even past formations of like, a group of male infantry or whatever, were so far worse. So much worse. And it's like, I'm getting in trouble for this. And I just heard. So at that point, I knew my exit was pretty soon. But ironically, I've worked really hard to try to be a clean comedian. I started off not being a clean comedian, having a lot of jokes that had profanity or sexual content. And since about the last year, I pivoted and I've really tried to keep PG-13 and cleaner. And I've dropped a lot of my material only because I want to help people, and most of that needs to be corporate clean or PG clean.
Right. No, that's a pretty good point. And yeah, like you have to be so careful not to drop the the gender card or the race card, because you don't want it to turn into that type of discussion.
Right.
But that bias is there. That bias is there in me, right? And you have to recognize it. And that's the only way you're going to fix it. That's why we talk about that on the show too, about identifying your demon so that you can acknowledge it, maybe work on it. But yeah, one of those biases, like a woman cussing, right? Like I was, it's always sounded a little different to me, right? It just has. It's just like, why is she talking like that? But then I'll go over there, F you, F that, bam, bam. Like, well, why can't she talk like that? It's because she's a woman.
That's all part of internal programming, man. That's how your bias come from internal programming. And Monica knows what I'm talking about because she went to PSI. Yeah. But it's all how you were programmed as a child, and then you create your own biases from what you've learned. And not saying your parents taught you anything wrong, but from your environment and everything. And then those are the biases that literally control your mindset and everything that you react to. Where a woman cussing isn't a big deal. Like who cares,
And then part of that too is like it depends, like you said, where you grow up, like, and then like in the humor of comedy, the marvelous Miss Maisel.
Yes,
that show is freaking phenomenal. And like she gets arrested in the show for being lewd in public because she cussed. Yeah, so it was literally a freaking law that women couldn't cuss in public in certain areas,
which is wild, right? Right.
So it is okay to drop that card, especially when there's actual I guarantee you got a letter of reprimand because you are a woman saying that, and that bothered the shit out of somebody. Like it hit one of their freaking bias buttons, and they're like, well, I'm not having that. And it's like, oh yeah, it's just unreal. But that's growing against the
you gotta do better. And it's so funny because my husband was deployed at the time, and I have 2 young children. So it's not like I'm a big cusser anyways. Like I don't cuss in front of my kids. Like I'm not a foul-mouthed person. I'm not a crude person. it just in the moment, sometimes you think things and they shouldn't come out. And to be fair, what I thought shouldn't have came out of my mouth. Like I should have had the discipline to hold it in. But in this case, I just didn't. It was, but that's okay. I use it now in one of my routines, and it's making me money, so that's fine. I benefit.
There you go. There you go. I was literally going to say that. Like if I can go get every one of my progress reports from grade school and up, where it said I talk too damn much, right? And it's like, and then every commander that I ever had, whenever I got promoted, they were like, "Hey, great job, you've been killing it. Hey, you just got to watch your mouth a little bit now." Right?
Yeah.
Every single rank, it's going to get you in trouble.
Dude, you used to be a headache, man, when I was your platoon.
It's going to.
But it was good. It was for the better. It was for the better. I'll give you that.
Get you in trouble. And I'm sitting like, I never really got in trouble. Like I was under investigation a few times, but like I never really got in trouble. And then, but then I'm like, you got to find a way to get paid for it. Like, so I love talking, obviously. So I started a fucking podcast.
There you go.
Talk. And like, there you go. You're like, now you use that thing, and now who's laughing now? That person's probably sitting there, beating the freaking whatever political drum on Facebook and whatever he or she's doing now, and you're telling it as a joke and getting paid for it. So
yeah,
freaking awesome.
So Robin, who are some of your like favorite comedians? Like I know we named one a few minutes ago, but like who are some of, if you had to call out some of the ones that you like look at and you're like, man, this guy's on fire. Like who are some of your favorite comedians?
I go in spurts. So my all-time favorite is Robin Williams. He is, to me, probably.
He's just amazing person in general, right? Yeah.
I watch everything from reruns of Mork and Mindy to his movies to his stand-up. I mean, I'm mildly obsessed with him, and we have the same name. So that. I go in spurts. Right now, I'm really into Nate Bargatze, like Trey Kennedy, that whole John Chris, like that kind of group of comedy. I'm really leaning. I really like Dave Chappelle's new special that came out called Dreamer. I love, of course, Jim Gaffigan's like probably one of my very favorites, only because he's not only, but mostly because he takes like the very just absurd things about life and makes them hilarious. I think he's so gifted. Like, but I also like personalities that aren't necessarily stand-ups, but they're really funny people, like Melissa McCarthy. I'm a big fan of hers. Like I pass out.
She's hilarious.
Yeah. I like Eliza Schlesinger just because she's a big supporter of women in comedy and also veterans. In fact, when I told you about that Marine I met in Vegas, we were having brunch and talking about it. She's like, "Oh, my friend's a comedian. Let me call her and see if like she'll talk to you about it and give you advice." And I was like, "Okay, whatever." She dials and it's Eliza Schlesinger, and I'm like, "Are you freaking kidding me right now?" She's like, "Oh yeah, we met. Da da da. She's a friend of mine." And I was like, so I'm on the phone with Eliza. And she was so sweet and nice. And of course, we didn't have a lot of time, and then she actually volunteered and came on to mentor the ASAP comedy bootcamp class, just out of the goodness of her heart. And she's got like 6 Netflix specials now and traveling all over the world. I like Taylor Tomlinson too. She just got her late night show. So I'm really proud of her. I mean, she's, so to accomplish so much and like as a woman and at her age I'm just like, go girl, do your thing.
I remember my parents were always watching back in the 80s, George Carlin.
Yes.
Brilliant mind.
That guy's a riot. Yeah. Brilliant mind for sure. Yeah.
I have
a new guy. Everybody's like watching him as that Matt Rife guy. He seems pretty funny. He's got some stuff going on. Yeah.
Yeah. He signed his name on the wall at Stand Up Live in Huntsville, and I performed there this year. And you sign when you perform, you sign, and underneath his name there was like a big open spot. And I was like, nobody wants to sign next to Matt Rife. I'm like, I'm gonna go right under right.
Yes, go.
My friend Ashley Greenwood was like, Rob, what are you doing? I was like, this is probably the only time that Matt Rife is gonna be on top of me.
I have a really cool Robin Williams story.
Nice.
It's short, but if you didn't already love this guy, you're gonna like, oh my god. So I have mentally and physically handicapped cousin who lives in Santa Rosa, which is just north of San Francisco. And that's where Robin Williams used to live. And he would show up at the adult daycare that she still goes to every week to play basketball with the people there. And the only condition that he gave the administration was, don't ever let the media know that I'm here. I just want to be here and experience this with these people. And my cousin Sophie can't run because she has a seizure disorder and she falls and hurts herself and whatnot. And he would literally pick her up, she's tiny, and put the ball in her hands, and he would run her across and jump up and have her dunk. And it was just, just an amazing human being who did a lot of things on the sidelines that people don't know about.
I love that.
That's
story.
crazy how he passed too, right? Like nobody would have expected that from him, because I was smiling and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, it just shows you that it can creep up on anybody, and before you know it. Scott, I don't want to go down that tangent either because I was in.
I'm about to call it. It's true though, man.
It is, and like
legit dude, man.
I talk about my struggles as a leader where I failed, with suicide prevention. It's like, but you got to think that there was somebody in Robin's circle that had some kind of idea, right? There had to be somebody, right? And that's kind of what I think so. And like that, and that's where we're getting at, where we're trying to coach people now to have the courage to talk,
speak up,
have the courage to ask. And I'm gonna, I have a battle buddy of mine. He was a soldier under me, and he always contacts me, tells me how he's doing. And he, he's overseas right now, stationed, and he called me pretty intoxicated on Facebook Messenger and talking about how he was getting in trouble. And, he's hitting all these things with, he's drunk, he's facing UCMJ, like things aren't going well. And I don't know anybody stationed in Korea at this time. Like, I don't have anybody that went to Sergeant Major Academy, like nobody. And I'm like, well, fuck me. It's like whatever. So I literally tweeted the Sergeant Major of the Army. Right. I went and messaged him. I said, you know anybody in Korea? Here's this guy's name. I need him to be checked on. Like, I need somebody to get in his room right freaking now. And literally, kudos to the Sergeant Major of the Army, literally about 15 minutes later, chain of command is notified. They checked on him. He's fine.
Damn.
You
didn't tell me about this, Nick. Yeah.
I mean, and it's like, again, I apparently I was wrong, and he's mad at me right now. And you know what? I'm glad I was wrong.
No,
but it's like, but if I would have sat there and not done anything, and then the next day somebody calls me, you're like,
God forbid.
Nope, not living that one again. Because I've had that happen to me before, where I noticed something was wrong with somebody, and even though I was ACIS qualified and all this stuff, I still let that guy go alone, right? And it was like, and then he killed himself. I've told that story on the show before, and it's like, even though I'm the only one that was like, I hit him in the chest, and I was like, hey man, you're gonna be good. Don't worry about it. I knew something was wrong with him, right? And I didn't even do all the things that I was supposedly certified and trained on. And it was like, I didn't even follow all those steps. So yeah, not to go down too dark of a path, but it's like, that's where, like I'm saying, like somebody, that's where VTT comes in. That's where what Robin's doing with, the Best Medicine Brigade is that's what I was going to turn it into a question. Have you ever when you're doing your shows, has anybody ever approached you and was like, hey, like that was really powerful for me, besides you told the Marine story, but like anybody ever was like, hey, I was in a real dark place, until I came across what you guys are doing, or anything like that?
Yeah, not as much at the shows. A couple times at the shows for sure. Like, especially when we go to like places like Minot, North Dakota, where it's just really cold and dreary. But definitely after our workshops, because a lot of people aren't. So mental health literacy is not, we're not doing a very good job at that. And what I mean by that is that a lot of people don't realize that these cognitive distortions are like weeds, and they're growing in your mind, and they're making you think. I mean, I had a veteran call me just the other night, woke me up in the middle of the night, and it was like, I'm such a piece of shit, is what they said. And I'm like, this is a very common cognitive distortion that a lot of people struggle with. And all the things that he was saying were things that we teach about. So we teach each of these cognitive distortions, and then how to use humor to rethink your thought patterns around that situation to be more optimistic. So for example, one of the people that has come to me and said they really got a lot out of it was a guy named, actually I won't say his name, but anyway, a guy came up to me, and he was blind, and his wife was getting on his nerves, and they were having relationship issues. And so I said, well, what drives you? What upsets you that she's doing? And he said, well, I've been legally blind for 6 years, and she just doesn't get it. Like, she asked me the other day if I'd seen her keys. And I was like, oh, okay. And then he's like, oh yeah. And he was like, and then she asked me if I'd seen her glasses. And I was like, okay. And I said, well, let's write a joke about it. So we wrote a joke that was, my wife, I've been legally blind for 6 years. My wife asked me, have I seen her keys? Nope. Have I seen her glasses? Nope. Do I look fat in this dress? Yep. So we just make up funny stuff like that, just to like kind of, and then all of a sudden it just releases that tension. He no longer is like really that mad at her. He kind of thinks it's funny now that she asks these like, kind of dumb questions. So yeah, that's a really powerful part of it. There's a quote that I saw recently, and it said that we have to stop just pulling people out of the river. We have to go upstream and figure out why they're falling in. And that's where
Prevention.
Yeah, because a lot of what we're doing in mental health, and I say we, like the military community, VSOs, MSOs, government, we're doing really 3 things. We're trying to reduce stigma, like don't be ashamed that you fell in the river. We are trying to increase access to care. So, here's your flotation device for when you fall in the river. And then we're trying to educate, increase their literacy in mental health. So let me teach you how to swim, kind of thing. But what we're not doing, I don't think, a very good job of, is looking at the riverbank, and from the riverbank out, and like, okay, is there issues structurally? Is that, what is causing people to fall in? Where are the warning signs? What's pushing them towards the river? Like, what can we do in that space? I don't feel like the dollars being spent are enough in that area. I feel like far too much is on the other, and those are all great things, but I feel like we're missing.
No, you're right. And I've literally been to DC, and I was supposed to go last week, talking to the HASC service, MLAs. And I have been literally going in there talking about the exact same thing you're talking about, with the language in the NDAA about actually training the people on the ground and not just hiring professionals. Because by the time they get to a professional, like you said, by the time they fall in the river and somebody pulls them out of the river, hopefully, right, and gets them back on the bank, right, now we're intervening.
Yes.
Right? We're not preventing anything.
Yep.
Right? We just got lucky.
Yep.
Right? We got lucky that we saw that guy fall in the river, and we're going to go get him out. Right?
Yeah.
And there is nothing in the language that says we need to train people on preventing suicide.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like the Heimlich maneuver. Like, we train people how to give CPR. We train people how to apply a pressure bandage, or the Heimlich. But we got to do more train the trainer, training for that. And it's a little, I think it's lacking. And that's why Hilarious was developed. And we did it yesterday. We did that for Minot Air Force Base. We've got a couple more scheduled throughout the year. So hopefully we can, I feel like the more people we train, and then they train other people, it'll have a ripple effect.
Yeah, 100%. And so it's Hilarious, right? So it's spelled with heel. Yeah. It's on if you guys are watching and listening, those of you who are listening on the podcast, downloading this later, if you go onto our Facebook page, you can see it, and what that looks like. But Robin, where will people go find, how to find where your tour is going? Is there ways to support the tour? Is there ways that, that people can do that are listening? Give us some of the breakdown on that, where people can find your schedule and how they can help.
Yeah, our travel schedule's on bestmedicinebrigade.com. And so you can look for all of our upcoming shows, speaking events, where we're going to be. You can look at all of our talent. We have 48 comedians on our roster all over the country. And nice. So if you have events that you need a comedian for, or you want to do a show, a fundraiser, whatever. And then hilarious.org is our nonprofit side. So we use hilarious.org to go to places that don't have the funding to bring us in. So like this past year, I went to Orange County, Florida. They had lost a bunch of firefighters, and the fire chief there is a friend. And I said, hey, I'm going to come down. They're like, we don't have a budget. I was like, I'll go. So I've been sponsored by Jack Daniels and American Legion, part of their Be the One campaign. We've got Comcast and Universal. So
That's why you can't have a dry January. There it is.
Do you know?
Same with these guys. Like, how the hell am I supposed to have a dry January when they send me free shit all the time?
We know now. We know who the devil is now.
I know. And they just sent me a bunch of JD swag too, and I'm like always wearing it. I don't know why wearing it makes me thirsty, but we're always sponsors were from last year. We're hoping that they'll renew their sponsorships, but we are looking for this year, just so we can get out to more places that maybe don't have the budget for it. And I do have a lot of virtual stuff as well. So the hilarious, like for example, like anybody that's military affiliated or first responder or family member can get online with us and do one of those workshops that I talked about. So hilarious.org or bestmedicinebrigade.com. Yeah. And we're going to Japan, actually getting ready to go to Japan with Ashley Gutermuth and Christian Johnson. We're doing an Armed Forces Entertainment tour, and then we'll be in Europe, all military bases. We'll do 21 shows total this year. So that's
awesome. Nice. I'm wondering if we actually met in passing. I don't know if you were there. I'm in Los Angeles and met Ashley Gutermuth at a hilarious show at the Bob Hope Patriotic Hall.
Yeah, I was
a couple months ago. Yeah, I was like, I know your face looks familiar.
Yeah, I was the host and the producer. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so crazy. So
there you go, Monica. Could have had a guest a lot earlier.
Brushed with greatness.
Know what you're doing on the weekend.
Yeah.
You know, like,
yeah.
Well, I'm glad I was memorable.
Yeah, no, I remember faces. I just never names. Yeah,
it's okay. It's fine. That's good. You know that show will come out on Vet TV on Valentine's Day, and it's going to be a free link, so it doesn't matter if you're a subscriber or not. You'll be able to watch the special. So.
Oh, nice on Vet TV. That's great. Yeah. Too bad. Big old Mike Levine don't work there no more. He's I throw punches at that big.
It's not our show. What, once, twice?
Yeah. He always wants to come back on. I mean, you always start a goddamn political argument. I can't bring you on again.
Yeah.
Just let it go.
He's cool. Come on, man.
Yeah, I ran into him at AUSA, and he's like, "Oh, I'm coming after you," and I was like, "I'll be right over there waiting for you." You know, so
bring it.
Yeah, I'm actually Monica. I'll be back in. We had a show in San Clemente on February 3rd.
You better go, Monica.
Thank you.
When are you coming to Phoenix? When are you coming to Phoenix?
Invite my ass.
In Phoenix, I might be coming April 19th or 20th. I'm waiting to
count us in. Yep.
It's the Arizona National Guard. They're doing some sort of training conference, and they're considering having me speak at it, but I think they're trying to work on their budget for this year and figure if that's going to work for them. But
that's a tough one to crack, the National Guard budget. They don't know where that money comes from.
Yeah, that's a state budget, not a federal budget, right?
Yeah, I mean, if I have that's why when I get sponsors, if they don't have budgets, I just go and I use the sponsorships to support that. But we don't really have that right now. So I'd love to go and do a lot of as much as I can pro bono, but I got to get there. I got to get a hotel. It's a whole thing.
It costs money.
It does.
Oh,
Linda, one of our mods. Are you in Vegas at all this year?
Oh, I was just in Vegas. We just did a show in November in Vegas. I'll come back though. I love Vegas. That's where I just decided to start doing this was Vegas. So I feel like it's a special place for you. We just did a show for the Military Influencer Conference in November.
Oh yeah, that was going on there. Yeah, for sure.
There you go, Linda. She will be in Vegas again.
We're gonna set something up for that next year as well.
Yeah, we
in Atlanta this coming year.
All right, Linda lives in Vegas, and we are all going to stay at her place and go to the show.
No, I think the next one she says in Atlanta, so we'll figure it out. But no, hey, awesome. And the other thing I wanted to ask too is, do you ever have any trouble getting into like VFWs, or have you ever tried to?
Me?
Yeah, like as you're bringing like your your show there?
Oh, okay. So no. So one of the first places I started doing comedy was a VFW. My own post, 3137, post on the coast. It's here in South Carolina. Because I couldn't. I live in Charleston, South Carolina, and there's not a lot of comedy clubs here. And I wanted to start this, so I started with my own VFW post. The challenge with VFWs and American Legions, and I do a lot of them, is a lot of them don't want to pay for it, and they want to leave it open to they want to leave it open to anybody can come in. So like there'll be people that are coming in to like go to the bar and talk or shoot pool and do other things, and that's really hard to do a comedy show well when you've got like other activities going on and they're not there to listen to the comedy show. It's just very disruptive. I love bringing the comedy to where the veterans are. I do. Some producers, they kind of would look at me like it's crazy because they're like, "Oh, you're doing these VFWs and Legions, like, ew, like why don't you do theaters?" And this, I'm like, no, I love it. I'm a dive bar kind of girl. I know that sounds like some people, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
I mean, Dave's a little classier with bars. He thinks like his like real fancy bar is a dive bar. It's not. Brookside or whatever. Definitely not a dive bar.
He's European.
I asked that because the combat veteran, he messaged me saying, "You have any luck with like VFWs, like talking to them?" And I was like, not really. It's kind of the same thing that you were saying, that you were talking about. So I went into the one here in El Paso by McKellar Canyon, and I went in there and like really like waited for the president to come out, and I'm like, "Hey, I need to talk to you." And I'm like, "This, you're not going to like the way I talk to you." So like, it just is like this place is a dump. It's dead. I go, "If you're willing to do something outside the box, I might have something for you." And thankfully, he responded very well to it. And then Drew was able to sell out that VFW here. And it's really cool because it's outside.
He's coming to Phoenix in a couple months too.
Yep. And it's like, so I think I have a sales pitch that works at VFWs. If you ever need a hand with that, let me know. I'll call.
They all want something to draw in younger veterans, and comedy does that. So I don't really have to sell it. I mean, they need it, they want it. The challenge is they don't want to pay for it.
Right. That's
They want me to assume all the risk. They're like, "Hey, I want you to book 3 comedians, come here and do a show, the show. You can try to sell tickets, but our members aren't really used to paying much for tickets. And oh, by the way, you really can't sell tickets because we have to let anybody who wants to come in that's a member." So it's hard. So I don't do a lot of them as much as I would. I wish we could find a model where we could kind of meet in the middle somewhere.
I know, coming from the other side,
I think we have that model here in a couple months or within this year. But
our sole purpose is to replace the VFW, because I love, but it's also not we're not a nonprofit, so I don't want to get rid of the VFW because people who like Bush Light and smoking Mark Reds, they still need a place to go. So like, we'll let them keep going there. But no, for like you were saying, for like the younger veterans, the GWATs, the GWAT babies, they're compromised of 3 different generations almost, right? So it's like you have to now have a way to get 3 different generations of people to come hang out somewhere.
And comedy is a unifier. Like everybody loves comedy. It doesn't matter your age. We do and I love my post. Just so you know, I'm a little biased. Our post on the coast is right on the ocean, so it's beautiful. And the people are nice.
Well, Charleston's awesome. Yeah,
I can't complain. And then the Legion, American Legion, was our sponsor for our tour. So, and I love their Be the One campaign. But they do have some issues with a lot of the facilities are not in good state of repair. A lot of them smell like smoke. They need more like a revamp almost. So, but I think I've probably done 50 or more VFW and Legion shows in the last year.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. So we're working on that as well. And I think we'll be ready by, Veterans Day to have our first, what we're going to call it, veteran trash talk, social clubs. They're going to be social clubs, right? So, and then that way we're gonna try to lock down all of the I-10, right, and then pretty much move from there. San Diego, Phoenix, El Paso here, and then we'll probably go up to Virginia where we got a couple people in the
Real
family
quick. Robin, are you on YouTube? Brian is asking, one of our viewers. Shout out to Brian. Love you, bro.
Mhm.
Best
You
Man
are?
Brigade has a YouTube channel. I haven't. There's some stuff on there. It's about to get a whole lot more because we are going to start filming content for YouTube, like specifically with a company called Diesel Jack Media. I don't know if you know them. If you know Parmigiano, his whole team love working with them, and we're going to be filming a bunch of content and it all kind of like these funny like Saturday Night Live skits about these cognitive distortions. So basically doing mental health literacy, but in a very Saturday Night Live fun way, using the comedians from the Brigade, because it really achieves two things. It does the mental health work that I want to do, and then it also gives a job to veteran comedians, so now they have income. So that's coming in 2024.
Nice, that's awesome. Yeah, those guys are awesome at Diesel Media. That's like they're a lot of fun.
They are.
Yeah. We have yet to crack that egg with them, but we'll eventually get there. We've had a lot of the people that work in that organization on our show, so like eventually it's we'll get around to it.
Yeah. They have Office Joe coming out, I think, soon. That new show. I have like 4 lines in it, but I was super excited and honored to have the 4. They're based out of Raleigh. I teach problem framing through humor at UNC and Duke once a month. So like this is something that when I go there, I try to link up with them, have lunch or dinner with the team or meet with them. But yeah, they're a great group of people. But yeah, and to that point, like it's not just the military community that needs this. I mean, everybody kind of needs this, even business professionals. And in this case, this is part of a course that's for leadership and business, not so much for mental health.
No, that's 100% right, because again, people think that if they just attack mental health, that it's going to fix things. It's like, no, like you have to attack the entire system and find out like what's going on, where and what, and who. Like it could be completely different in a different area of the country, and that's like what should I tell people? It's like, don't message us for help. I'm sure we'll try to get you to where it is. Go put it on VT Official. Somebody there is going to have an answer. Somebody like when you message me, I'm going to give you the Big Earl's version. You might not like it. Like that's about like I might tell you to shut up. Like, hey man, shut up. That's nothing. But like it is what it is. No, that's great that you're doing that and spot on about mental health is not a DoD problem. It's a society problem.
Yep.
And again, we like to, and that's where that I've said, it's been a while since I said this on the show though, but I think the media and just the narrative has done a very good job at separating service members from actually being American citizens. Right. And so that's one of the ways to look at it, to where, hey, DoD, you have a sexual harassment problem. No, I mean, we do, but it's because of where we're getting our people from. Right. They're American citizens. We're bringing them in, and we have to change them. Right. We have to change them from what they grew up in. And now what you see is literally people getting in trouble for changing somebody. And it's like you're getting in trouble for being too hard, or for not understanding what they want. It's like, fuck, no, we don't want them to come in here and bring in that bullshit from fucking New York, right? Like they're about, like I just said New York, doesn't matter, right? Like pick it. Like, no, we don't give a shit about what their personal feeling is over here. Like they're about to go be a rifleman in this squad over here. That's their number one concern, right? And we got to make sure that everybody can trust them and have their back. So that the military is actually very efficient with that, and it gets a bad rap.
For efficient,
but
yeah. That's right. Like when you compare like the corporate world to like the military, when you like compare a leader in the military to a boss, and like the differences, like dude, yeah, for sure. So
that was a good point, Robin. Definitely. But yeah. Is there anything that we didn't ask you or cover?
Yeah, do like a quick 2-minute stand up, Robin. Come on, give us a
30 second best
perform
joke.
now.
1 minute. 1 minute.
That's what they all say, and that's how I had 2 kids. Yeah. Yeah. No, but I'm excited to see Monica. You got to come to the show in San Clemente. It's with My Creative PTSD and the Marine
I
Corps.
will. I will. I'll be there.
And yeah, it's going to be me, Ashley Gutermuth, and Jeff Grooms, the guy who won that night, who was the season 1 winner of America's Funniest Veterans Military Spouse.
Awesome.
It's going to be a great lineup. And then we're just, because we're going to LA, we're flying out of LAX to go to Japan. So that's for the AFP.
Okay. Cool.
When are you going to be on the? I'll talk to you after the show or like on LinkedIn. But I'm good friends with the Garrison Sergeant Major in Japan, so on the Army, make sure that you're.
Where at?
What's the base? Is it Osaka? It's not Osaka. Where the hell are the Army guys?
I don't. We're going to we're doing 9 shows and 9 different bases. So
yeah, I'll find out where he's at, and then I'll connect you.
Please do.
Or whatever.
I really wanted to go.
Warrior wants you out there in Gainesville, Missouri. If you're
Nobody's
nearby,
going to Gainesville, Missouri.
I just want to that North Dakota. I will go to Gainesville, Missouri. Okay.
There you go. There you go.
I'll do it.
That's my favorite joke about the military, about meeting people from all over the country. Is I consider Illinois the asshole of the United States, right? Like
come on,
nobody likes Illinois, right?
So
it's flat, right? Like it's disgusting. You have to pay tolls to drive through an ugly state. Like that's bad. like nobody wants to be in your ugly state in the first place. You have those pay fucking tolls, right?
The states around that you got to pay tolls.
Right, but then you have Indiana
and then the
Missouri.
roads are still jacked up. Like, what the fuck am I paying for, right?
Right, you have Indiana and Missouri right next to the asshole. So so what's next? What's next to your butthole is your butt cheeks, right?
Yeah.
So like everybody likes a good butt. Everybody butt cheeks are fun, right? So you got everybody I've met from Missouri and Indiana in the military has been a lot of fun, like a lot of fun. But there's something a little off about it. Right, and I'm for years I was like, man, why am I always hanging out with dudes from like Missouri and Indiana? Like I don't get it. Like I'm kind of drawn to it, right? And it's like because there's just
because there's something wrong with you.
Yes.
Right. No, but I figured out because I'm from Wisconsin.
Like attracts like, brother.
This is where it all stems from, right? I'm from Wisconsin, so right above the
Wisconsin,
the lower back, the strong part of your body. Right. So I am there to bring everything together. Right. So that's why I was drawn to these people. Yeah. But no, it goes back to Illinois, right? They're the asshole, right? Shits. Right. So every once in a while.
I want to go to Illinois. I want to go wherever nobody else is going. So here's the thing. All comedians want to go to the sexy places. Everybody wants to go to LA, to Vegas, to New York, to Dallas, to Phoenix, all the sexy places. That's well and good. That's fine. There's people who are doing that. I want to go to Minot. I want to go to Fort Irwin. I want to go to Fort Polk. This isn't fun. Like just fun and games. It's a mission.
Fort Polk, jeez,
100%.
You're down to do
it. Isn't it called Fort Johnson now? Racist. Yeah. So yeah.
Well,
what's Fort Polk called now? They changed Fort Polk.
Johnson.
What is it? Fort Johnson. Yeah, Fort Johnson.
See, they named it after me. What do you know?
Yeah.
That was like an invitation.
Right? You need to go. You need to go. It's meant to be.
Yeah, but I don't even want to do it. Like I want to go to Minot in January. I want to go to Fort Polk in August. You know what I mean? I want it to suck. I want it to be like, because that's when they need it the most. Like it doesn't help if you're going.
You're spot on. Yeah, you're spot on for sure.
Right. And who else is doing it? Nobody wants to go.
Nobody.
Yeah.
So you got
Fort Polk were always the worst Army experiences ever, right? JRTC always sucked. When you think of Fort Polk, it's like fuck.
Worst place on the planet.
I want to go to 29 Palms. I want to, send me where they don't have entertainment and where they need it the most. Anybody can nothing against Fort Bragg because Fort Bragg is sexy, blah blah blah. But like anybody can go there.
Damn right.
It's the center of the universe.
Okay, I'm a 101st girl, so we'll beg to differ.
I mean, we kind of covered that in the intro. Right, so
but it's also not Fort Bragg anymore.
That's why I grabbed my
awesome.
Yeah, sweet jump boots you guys are all wearing there.
Look,
exactly that for. But no, hey, let us know how we can help. Again, what we do here is once we have you on the show, I knew who you were already, and apparently Monica did tell anybody, right? So like, but now that we know who you are, like, and people who have watched and listened, they'll know who you are. Let us know whatever we can promote for you. All right, so it won't cost anything. If you like want to put out a video or you want to put out a schedule, let us know. We'll throw it on our platforms and we'll do that. But yeah, if there's anything we haven't covered, we'll give it to Monica for the AAR, unless there's something we haven't covered for you, Robin, that we should have.
No.
AR, Monica, and closeout. It's all in you.
Oh, we're gonna give her the
All on you.
closeout. Oh snap! I don't know.
Yep. We'll give it to her.
Yeah, go for it.
Hello.
Yeah, it's you.
It's me. Oh,
yeah,
shit.
AAR.
You're 35 series. You're Intel. You're good. You got this.
Camo.
One
She
thing
was Intel. She was a 35 Mike, right?
No, 31 Charlie and 35 Papa.
No wonder you suck as your
35 Papa.
Signal.
35 Papa, which is a 35 Papa is a cryptological.
the wrong job. Yeah.
All right. So one thing I kept thinking about, and this could be an entire hour of talk, is a lot of people think, oh, positive thoughts, kumbaya, let's burn some incense, whatever. You guys are a bunch of hokey pokey weirdos. But I used to work with a neurologist who studied brain synapses that actually change based on how you think and based on what you project. It's not hokey pokey. It's not some hippy dippy stuff. You can actually reprogram your brain to go to a different place. They've done neurological studies on brains, MRIs of brains of people telling themselves, like having a positive mantra, trying to catch yourself when you're thinking something negative. Doesn't mean all your problems are going to go away, but what your brain is doing right now in that negative zone, it's going to a comfort zone. And your comfort zone is where you are most of the time. Now, comfort zone can be really uncomfortable. It can be negative, but you can actually physiologically change your brain synapses by forcing yourself to go into a positive thought. And they have medical proof about it, before and after MRIs of people who are, we all giggle at the little girl on the sink saying, you're amazing, you're beautiful, you're strong, but that shit works. It works. And the whole fake it till you make it has science behind it. So that's my biggest encouragement of the day.
I love that so much because I don't like to say mental health or resilience. I feel like they're overdone. So I say psychological performance. In fact, we just changed our logo to be humor for psychological performance. There's a reason why professional sports pay millions of dollars for skills coaches that are psychologists, because it works. And they know their athletes need as much mental skills strengthening as they do the physical. So you're spot on, Monica. I love it.
Thank you for being here. This has been awesome. And I will go see you in San Clemente.
And remember me after you see me.
I will.
I'm going to give you so much shit. But I am going to bring you a Best Medicine Brigade shirt if you don't have one.
Oh, awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll bring you one.
Cool.
Nice. Great. Yeah. And I can't wait to come see your shows too. Especially you go to Arizona, I'll probably head out there with Dave. We'll be there.
Let's do it.
Let's put together a show. Let's I'll come to El Paso. Nobody wants to go there.
Yeah. Fort Bliss is a very sad
50 minute
place,
flight. I'll be there.
That's
what
comedy though.
Me being on the advocate side that I am, I fight with the veterans organizations in El Paso all the time. And one of them who runs the Veterans One Stop was on our show, and he goes, "Man," he's like, "You put all that together to VFW." I was like, "It wasn't that hard." And he goes, "That's the most amount of veterans with Drew." It's like, "That's the most amount of veterans I've ever seen in one place in El Paso."
You know what? I need to link you up with it. There is a comedian who I met and actually talked him through joining the Army. This is his first assignment is Fort Bliss. He's a stand-up comedian, but I don't think a lot of people know that he's really funny. His name is Michael Garrick, and he just got to Bliss. He just graduated basic training like a couple months ago. I'll have to link you up. He will probably fall over because he'll be see your rank and be like, "Oh my God." But that would be so funny if you're like, "Hey, I heard you're funny."
Yeah. Heard you got jokes.
Yeah.
Tell me a joke. I'm having a bad. What's that from Boondock Saints? I'm having a bad day. Tell me a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, yeah. Let's link us up. But for sure, this is again, this is why we love our show and what we do. It makes us feel better, and then we always get a new perspective, and we get a new friend and somebody that we can help, and then maybe can help us. You never know. That's the way networking works. And so we'll do our best to help you any way that we can. So please use us as an asset. We will definitely do it. And then Monica, you got to close us out, like the 10th Mountain, the 4 Patriot, the T-shirt sales.
All right. Go
You're
to
the COO.
veterantrashtalk.com. We are on all of the social media platforms. We do a lot of trash talking, but we are ultimately here to support each other through good times and bad. Ask any one of us for a T-shirt code. I don't have one for some reason. I think I've used Cliff's sometimes to get my Vet Trash Talk T-shirt.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I got your old show on here that you guys don't do anymore. Monday Morning Throat Punch.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
You know, men, women, first responders, even people who are not first responders or veterans can come and join any of our groups if you're supporting the community. And we are all here to sing Kumbaya and hold hands. But there you go.
All right.
Thanks.
Love y'all. Happy Saturday. We'll catch you guys next week. Boom.
Bye.
I'm not as fast as Chris is at playing the video, so hold on.
Yep. So
thanks for watching and listening. And now a word from our sponsor, 4 Patriots. In a startling description, the UN food chief warned the world with the words, knocking on famine's door. He called what we're facing a perfect storm of a perfect storm. And he's not alone. Barron's published that a food shortage could be coming, even in the U.S. Farmers see it too. John Boyd Jr., a 4th-generation farmer, told Fox News that we're going to see empty food shelves in the coming months. That's why getting survival food is more important than ever now. Create your own stockpile of the best-selling 4 Patriots survival food kits. It's not ordinary food. We're talking good for 25 years super survival food. Hand-packed in a family-owned facility in the USA and giving jobs to over 200 Americans. They have different delicious breakfasts, lunches, dinners. You can make these meals in less than 20 minutes. Just add boiling water, simmer, and serve. And right now, for the next few days, listeners of the Veteran Trash Talk podcast will get 10% off their first order at 4patriots.com by using the code VTTGW. Go to 4patriots.com and use the code VTTGW to start your stockpile today.